Hi everyone, welcome back to my class. Students, this session is the continuation of the lesson metals and non-metals. So in today's session, I'll begin with the explanation of the formation of sodium chloride. See, as I told you before itself, see, sodium's atomic number is 11, right? So the atomic number of sodium is 11, and if we look at the electronic configuration, on its K shell there are 2 electrons, on its L shell there are 8 electrons, on its M shell there is 1 electron, correct? So sodium has 1 extra electron on its valence shell. So when sodium come in contact with chlorine, sodium yavaga chlorine jotege contact ke barutte enagutte, it will immediately lose 1 electron. Sodium, it will lose 1 electron immediately. Yavaga? When it come in contact with chlorine. Why? Because see, the atomic number of chlorine is 17, and on its K shell it has 2 electrons, on its L shell it has 8 electrons, on its M shell it has 7 electrons. So chlorine has 7 electrons on its valence shell. So ನಿಮಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ 7 ಲೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕೆ ಸೋಡಿಯಂ 1 ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನನ್ನು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಲೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಸೆಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಐ ವುಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಟು ರಿಮೈಂಡ್ ಯು ಒನ್ಸ್ ಅಗೈನ್. ಸಿ, ಫಾರ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಟು ಗೇನ್ 7 ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೇ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಆಕ್ಟೇಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಗರೇಷನನ್ನು ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ನೀಡ್ 7 ಮೋರ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ 8 ಆಗೋಕ್ಕೆ 7 ಮೋರ್ ಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್. So what sodium do? Instead of gaining 7 ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೂ ಬದಲಾಗಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, it will lose easily 1 electron. Thereby the second shell of the sodium now it is filled by 8 electrons. Now what happened? Sodium becomes stable. Na becomes Na plus. Sodium ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, Na ಇತ್ತು, 1 electron ನ ಲೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು it becomes now Na plus. Similarly, for the chlorine, to lose 7 electrons is very difficult for the nucleus of the chlorine. I told you this in the previous session. Instead, what chlorine will do? It will take 1 electron. 8 our case beku, illi only 1 is needed. So chlorine will take 1 electron now from the sodium. So what happened now? 7 plus 1, it becomes 8. It becomes 8. Now the chlorine has 8 electrons on its valence shell. Chlorine na outermost valence shell mele iga ಎಷ್ಟು electron ide? There are 8 electrons. Now chlorine becomes more stable by gaining 1 electron. Cl ididu iga Cl minus aitu. So now Na plus is more stable than Na. Cl minus is more stable than Cl. Why? Because now it has obtained 1 electron. Chlorine has obtained 1 electron from the sodium, and sodium has lost 1 electron. Now both the elements become very stable. Clear? So I hope you have understood what happened. So now you can observe the positive charge and negative charge here, right? So it attracts sodium and chlorine. Now as it has positive and negative charge, it will attract, and thus a bond will be formed. ಈ ಎರಡರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಒಂದು ಬಾಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So that bond is the ionic bond. What kind of bond is formed? Ionic bond is formed between sodium and chlorine. Clear? Why? Because you can observe Na becomes very stable by losing 1 electron. Chlorine becomes very stable by gaining 1 electron. You can observe the positive and negative charge here. Positive and negative charge attracts each other. Thereby it forms a bond called ionic bond. That is the reason when we put NaCl, NaCl ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ವಾಟರ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, it becomes Na plus and Cl minus. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ವಾಟರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, there is H plus and O minus. Oxygen and hydrogen atoms ಇರುತ್ತೆ, right? So Na will go to oxygen, chlorine will go to hydrogen. So that is the reason ಯಾವಾಗಲೇ ಆಗಲಿ ನಾವು ಸಾಲ್ಟನ್ನು ವಾಟರ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, it will be easily soluble in. And one more thing you have to understand, pure water does not conduct electricity. What is the pure water? Distilled water. Distilled water is the purest form of water. It does not conduct electricity. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಬೀಕರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟಿಲ್ಡ್ ವಾಟರ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿನ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ವಾಟರ್ಗೆ, the water will not conduct electricity. But the moment when we add NaCl, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ NaCl, sodium chloride ಅಂದರೆ ಸಾಲ್ಟನ್ನು ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, it is easy for the water to conduct electricity. Clear? See, if you look at the formation of sodium chloride here, so you can observe See here you can observe the electron dot structure of sodium chloride. See, we are going to write the valence electrons on each element. So sodium has only one valence electron. So I am representing sodium with one valence electron, whereas chlorine, NaCl, right? So chlorine has how many valence electron? It has 7. 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5 and 6 and 7. Clear? So now what will happen? Sodium will lose one electron. So now it will become Na plus. It will become Na plus, and chlorine will gain one electron. It will become Cl minus. So now you can observe the chlorine is having how many valence electrons on its orbit? It is having totally 8. You can observe here. This is how the structure is formed when we look at the chlorine. Clear? So this is how the sodium chloride is formed. This will be asked in your examination. You need to learn this. So next, if we look at the formation of magnesium chloride, it is also very similar to sodium chloride. It is very easy to understand. See, as I told you, sodium and chloride ions being oppositely charged, what happen? It will attract each other, right? And thereby there is a strong electrostatic force between them. Correct? Sodium has the positive charge, chlorine has a negative charge. So both positive and negative charge will attract each other. Thereby it will create a strong electrostatic force between them. Sodium and chloride madre enagutte? There will be strong electrostatic force of attraction. Clear? And I also told what is the definition for ionic compounds. They are the compounds which are formed by the transfer of electrons from a metal to non-metal. Metal in the non-metal gain ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ, electron transfer ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. So through this, what kind of bond is formed? Ionic bond is formed, and such compounds are called as ionic compounds. Clear? So next, when we look at the formation of magnesium chloride, okay? So I'll explain you how the magnesium chloride is formed. And it is very simple to understand also. So when we look at the magnesium, the atomic number of magnesium is 12, correct? So if I write the shells K, L and M shell, on the first shell it has 2 electrons, on the second shell it has 8 electrons, and on the third shell it has 2 electrons. So when we look at the chlorine, chlorine's atomic number is 17. Haudalva? Chlorine atomic number is 17 ide. So K shell mele 2 electrons, L shell mele 8 electrons, and M shell mele there are 7 electrons. You know about the chlorine, right? So by now you have understood the electronic configuration of both magnesium and chlorine. So now what we have to form? We have to form magnesium chloride. So here there are 2 atoms of chlorine. Please note it. We are writing MgCl2. It is MgCl2. So there is 2 atoms of chlorine. 1 atom of magnesium, but there are 2 atoms of chlorine. Clear? So for the magnesium to attain the octet configuration or to become stable, it needs 6 electrons. Magnesium ge stable agbeku andre 8 electrons beku. Haudalva? So but there are only 2 electrons on the outermost shell. So for the magnesium, for the nucleus of magnesium to receive 6 electrons is very difficult. So what magnesium will do? Magnesium will lose 2 electrons, thereby it becomes Mg2 plus, because it is losing 2 electrons. 2 electron ana lose ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಿದೆ. When we look at the chlorine, okay, so chlorine has 7 electrons, 7 valence electrons on its valence shell. Then for the nucleus of chlorine, to lose 7 electrons is very difficult. Haudalva? 7 electrons ana lose ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಕ್ಕೆ chlorine ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟ. Rather, it will receive 1 electron and it will become stable. Right? It will receive 1 electron and it will become Cl minus. So this concept you have understood, right? So magnesium will lose 2 electrons, it becomes Mg2 plus. Chlorine will gain 1 electron, it will become Cl minus. See, if you observe here, we are looking for the formation of magnesium chloride. So there is only 1 atom of magnesium, whereas there are 2 atoms of chlorine. 2 atom of chlorine ide. As I told you, how many valence electrons magnesium is losing? Magnesium is losing 2, right? So as it is losing 2, chlorine need 1 valence electron, right? So how many chlorine are here? There are 2 chlorine atoms. So each chlorine atom will receive 1 electron. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2 electrons ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ magnesium ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So this chlorine will receive 1 electron and this will receive 1 electron. Thereby ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಎರಡು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಮೆಗ್ನೀಷಿಯಮ್ ಇಂದ ಲೂಸ್ ಆದಂಥ ಎರಡು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈಕ್ವಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ನ ಮಧ್ಯೆ. ಸೊ thereby it will form magnesium chloride structure. Is it clear? So as I told you, magnesium will lose 2 electrons, right? So these 2 valence electrons are equally distributed to 2 atoms of chlorine. ಎರಡು ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಆಟಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Thereby it will form MgCl2. It will become MgCl2, that is magnesium chloride. And ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆದಂಥ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಯಾವುದು? It is ionic bond. So if you look at the charge of magnesium, it is plus, right? And when we look at the charge of chlorine, it is minus. So positive and negative charges will attract each other. Thereby what happened? There will be strong electrostatic force of attraction between them. Magnesium ಹಾಗೂ chloride ನ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? There will be strong electrostatic force of attraction. Thereby it forms the ionic bond. Magnesium chloride also will form the ionic bond between them. Clear? I hope you all have understood. So when we write like this, you need to be very careful. See, we show Mg2 plus because Mg2 plus is more stable than Mg now, right? And when we write chlorine, it is very important. See, you need to mention we have 2 chlorine atoms with its charge minus. So you can write either like this or you can also write like this. See, this is the, you can also write like this. This is another way. But please note it down, this change here. See, whenever you write, you should not write Cl2 minus. It is wrong. This is wrong. Okay. Because chlorine is receiving only 1 valence electron. Only 1. But here totally there are 2 chlorine atoms. So you should write like this with its valence electron. See, chlorine has 7 valence electron, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. It has 7 valence electron. 7. So it need only 1 valence electron it is receiving. So there are 2 chlorine atoms. You should not write 2 inside, it will become wrong. So here it is Mg2 plus. Mg is losing 2 electrons. Okay, chlorine is gaining 2 electrons, but its charge is 1. Clear? I hope you have understood this formation. So it is very very important in my examination alli formation of magnesium chloride, formation of sodium chloride, probably magnesium chloride tumba exams alli kelidru. So you have to give more importance to learn this. Okay, so with this you have understood the formation of sodium chloride and magnesium chloride. I hope you have understood the topic. If you feel this video is useful, kindly like and share with your friends. Thank you so much for watching this video.